Hi there, good to see you. Thanks for joining the live chat. Can you hear me, viewers? Thank you for responding with yes. Let me welcome the participants first. And then we have an interesting topic in tonight's live chat for you. Gabba D, first viewer commented. Welcome, Gabba. Lost in trance here. Sina joined too. Welcome, Sina. Lost in trance says, I am curious to know developing news in Tigray. Well, the topic of this live chat is the sixth front of the Ethiopian military, which is related to Tigray, by the way. Perfetto here. Ye Afro says, is it really powerful? Well, I'll explain and then leave it to you to decide how powerful is it. Well, now here, FBG ne join. Welcome, FBG ne. By the way, 3 to 4 days ago, if you remember, I briefed you on a map about Ethiopian military deployment around Tigray on 5 fronts. But in that video, I clarified that ENDF was being deployed on other fronts too. And I said I will explain the deployment of Ethiopian military on other fronts in coming videos. Those who have watched that video, they know the 5 fronts which I mentioned, but I'll repeat. But tonight I am going to share with you about the activities of the Ethiopian military on the 6th front, which perhaps is a defensive front. The 5 fronts, which I explained in that video 3 days ago, all are offensive fronts, I believe. This front is defensive front and very important. Keeping in view the history, keeping in view what happened in past wars and internal conflicts in Ethiopia. RT joined, TYYHD joined. Nahom says, do you think the war is inevitable? Well, inevitable is not the right word, but a war can erupt anytime. And it is being said by everyone now, by the way, not just my views. And news is saying that war is imminent. International Crisis Group published an article 2 days ago. Bloomberg published a report yesterday. So many sources are saying war is imminent. International news sources are saying, politicians are saying. Why? Because military mobilization has been confirmed. That is why we can only say war can erupt anytime. Is it inevitable or not? That can be debated because international community is stepping in to find a way out. Mediation is ongoing, no doubt about that. Maybe there could be a miracle and Ethiopian military starts withdrawing, and Tigray starts withdrawing to from the attack as in the two parties start dialogue. So no one knows. Ken Bon Lamy joined. RT said, do you think the war with Iran would lead to the northern Ethiopian war? Well, tensions are high there in the Middle East, but I believe that likelihood of war between Eritrea and Ethiopia, Tigray and Addis is higher than the likelihood of war between Iran and US. That's my assessment. I might be wrong. I think Trump is just playing psychological games, trying to pressurize Iran. He wants Iran to come to the table and sign a deal. In Ethiopia, things are alarming. Obviously, Abiy also wants TPLF to agree to federal government's demands and make concession at the table. But I think in the Horn of Africa, situation is more alarming. So in the Middle East, you're seeing massive mobilization of American military assets. But still, I believe the situation is more alarming in the Horn of Africa than in the Middle East. Kiye joined, says, what is the message behind your blackboard? It's not a blackboard, by the way, it's a black sheet. Just an abstract pattern on it, no message, but you can read into it. DW Ethiopia joined. I will explain DW Ethiopia about this offensive being defensive. This front being defensive. Sony Safa joined. Jacob Jericho is forcing me to answer a question about Pakistan's role in East Africa. Basically, wants to divert me. That's what he writes in comment section of live chats on daily basis. Not asking a question about the topic to divert me. Just because I criticized him, I said, you are not allowed to speak freely by other YouTubers. My views on news is the only channel you're allowed to express your views, and you criticize me. I'm ready for that, but be ready to take criticism as well. Now, taking revenge all day in every live chat, he asks questions about Pakistan. As if he's really interested. He's not. He's trying to divert me. Be bark here. DW Ethiopia says, is there any chance Eritrea can stay out of the conflict if Abiy does not attack Eritrean troops? Well, Eritrea will be drawn into this war if it happens. Deriba Megarsa joined. Mesfin Gizagan here. Aisha Osman says, my question is, can you predict the geopolitical Ethiopia civil war? What do you mean? Okay, let's start, viewers. Just allow me to speak for a few minutes, and I want to explain Ethiopian military's sixth powerful front where massive mobilization is underway. While most of the international news sources are talking about mobilization of ENDF towards Tigray, people are missing what ENDF is doing on this front. I think soon international news sources will report about this front too, because they are always late. What I report today, they will report that maybe after a week or 2 weeks. In a video 3 to 4 days ago, I explained 5 fronts. Let me repeat where ENDF is being deployed. I mentioned southern Tigray front in a far to the east of southern Tigray, to the south of southern Tigray in Wollo, ENDF troops are being deployed. First front. Second front I mentioned was Sikota to Ebergale front. From there, ENDF could make a move towards central Tigray. From the first front, ENDF could make a move towards southern Tigray. Third front, which I mentioned in that video, was Idaga Hamas. That from the Afar region, from Abala, from Kannaba, ENDF will try to cut off Degarat to Makale Road. Fourth front, which I mentioned, is Adarkai to Salemti front. Massive END deployment there in Salemti along Takaze. Fifth front, which I mentioned in that video, was ENDF's mobilization in Wolkai to Marasagade. All these 5 fronts are meant to encircle Tigray, to carry out attacks on Tigray from multiple sides. But it's not that ENDF is just being deployed on these 5 fronts. Obviously, there is ENDF mobilization towards other fronts too. Sixth front is not the only front. It's not the last front. There's front number 7 too, front number 8 too, and I'll explain those fronts in coming videos. Which front is the sixth front, and why is it the 5 fronts which I mentioned are offensive fronts? Means from there, ENDF wants to march into Tigray. But the sixth front is defensive front. ENDF is expecting that the rival parties, Afano, TPLF, Eritrea, will make a massive move through this front. So they need to protect the area, to protect the capital. Yeah, Skandarevat, you are right. Sudan, you're right, Sudan. So while ENDF is being deployed to 5 fronts around Tigray, there is massive mobilization of the Ethiopian National Defense Force towards Ethiopia-Sudan border. Massive mobilization. And there is history, by the way. There is history which testifies that in the past, those who wanted to reach Addis Ababa actually managed to march in the area situated on Ethiopia-Sudan border. When in 1989, TPLF, EPLF, and OLA to OLF, they marched towards Addis Ababa. They captured Assosa, Benishangal Gumuz region of Ethiopia, right on Ethiopia-Sudan border. So those forces in 1989, fighting Mengistu Haile Mariam, marched through Benishangal Gumuz, and they managed to enter Wollega, where Prime Minister of Ethiopia was seen 3 days ago. They visited Wollega twice so far, by the way. Wollega perhaps could be a key player. So ENDF units are being mobilized, deployed to Benishangal Gumuz region, to Gambela. and to the Amhara region close to Sudan-Ethiopia border. What is happening in Wollega? I will explain a little later. A lot is happening in Wollega too, by the way. And and in Benishangal, you know that RSF fighters are being trained, armed. Their training camps have been disclosed now. From there, these RSF fighters, SPLM fighters, are being launched into Blue Nile state of Sudan. They're crossing into Blue Nile state, carrying out attacks there. They've captured places there. Sudanese side has confirmed attacks from Ethiopian territory. UAE-backed RSF, SPLM fighters deployed in BG, Banishan al-Gumas. And the Ethiopian government of PMRB hopes that maybe these RSF fighters and SPLM fighters could be used by the Ethiopian government against Eritrean forces, against Fano, against Tigray forces. If they somehow manage to enter Matakal or that these RSF fighters will push them back in coordination with Ethiopian National Defense Force. Samia says no voice. Any problem with? Come on, Sammy. No problem with the mic. So, in a parallel development, in a parallel and related development, general mobilization has been announced by the Ethiopian government in Wollega. Dula Ula Galana is the name being given to this mobilization. Dula Ula Galana. This is the 5th general mobilization announced in Wollega. General mobilization means that people have been told to join security forces. Massive recruitment underway, in some cases, conscription. What is Dula Ula Galana? And why is it the 5th general mobilization ordered in Wollega? I worked on the mobilizations of the past in Wollega. When Ethiopians fought Italians in Adwa, first mobilization was announced in Wollega by the Ethiopian government, obviously. Second Dula or mobilization was announced in Wollega in 1989 when Mengistu Haile Mariam was fighting Fano, not Fano, TPLF, EPLF, and others. I think Mengistu was from Oromia, if I'm not wrong. So he announced mobilization to get support from the people of Wollega against Northerners. Third mobilization in Wollega was announced in 1998. Badme War, Ethiopia-Eritrea War. Fourth mobilization was, and that was obviously announced by the Ethiopian government, EPRDF in 1998. Fourth mobilization in Wollega was announced when Kio movement was launched. obviously by opposition. Now, fifth mobilization has been announced in Wollega called Dola Ula Galana by government side. Government and Dula Ola Galana means mobilization for sea access. Prosperity Party government is asking the people of Wollega to join and to support, to be part of security forces in security forces efforts to gain access to the sea. Dula Ola Galana was announced in Wollega around 2 weeks ago. Since then, recruitment ongoing, conscription ongoing. Abiy has visited Wollega twice so far. He visited East Wollega and Nakamte. He visited Kalam Wollega, Dembidolo, 2 days ago. Abiy is from Jema. And in Kalam Wollega, Dembidolo, he clearly said that Oromos should not allow he said that Roma should unite and that issues did happen in the past, but now Roma should fight together to protect themselves from the attacks of the outsiders who are planning to attack Romos. So he tried to mobilize the people of Wollega. And Wollega, has been a key zone in the Oromia region in terms of military mobilization, in terms of decision making, in terms of Samuel joined after a long time. Welcome, Samuel. Good to see you. He's chosen to be a member as well. So Abiy is hoping that by mobilizing the people in Wollega, in other parts of Oromia, he will be in a position to mobilize his forces in large numbers towards Sudanese border, towards Tigray, towards Eritrea. The sixth front, which I mentioned, is linked to recruitment in Wollega. Most of the recruits from Wollega are being sent to most of the soldiers are being sent to Sudanese border, either in Benishangal Gumuz or in Gambela or in the Amhara region. Equal justice as Sajid, all these recruits, what happened to the past recruits seems like fun of PWs. Well, no, I think they're opening so many fronts now. If they want to start a full scale war, obviously they need a large force for that. But the deployment on the Sudanese sixth front is defensive. I mean, from this front, I don't think ENDF will march towards Eritrea, towards Tigray. It's purely defensive mobilization, I think. So ENDF will be kept in large numbers in Benishangul Gumus, on Amhara Sudan border, and maybe it can reinforce ENDF presence in Humera uh, to engage Army 70 near Humera and Eritrean military there too. I think ENDF's main front, offensive front, will be the Eastern Front from afar and from Wollo towards southern Tigray. And their main defensive front will be this front, sixth front, Sudan Ethiopia border. Knight says your view on Sadkan saying it will only take 2 weeks to destroy TPL. Well, I disagree. I completely disagree. Sadkan is actually giving false hopes to ENDF. He wants ENDF to start war and attack Tigray, southern Tigray, especially. Do watch my video, which I uploaded 4 hours ago, and I mentioned in that video Sadkan's proposal to Abiy's government. He wants quick attack by Abiy's military from Sekota towards Abragale and from Afar towards southern Tigray, from Wollo towards southern Tigray. He wants war to start, by the way. But it won't be over in 2 weeks. TPLF can be removed from Mekelle in maybe 1 week, but can TPLF be removed from Tigray in 2 weeks? No. The Ethiopian military, Eritrean military, Fano, regional forces, militias, all tried to remove TPLF from Eritrea, from Tigray in 2020, 2-year-long war, and still TPLF was there in Tigray. I don't know what is the basis for Sadkan's conclusion that within 2 weeks TPLF can be removed. Maybe he's giving false hopes to ENDF to start a war. By the way, when Abiy waged war on Tigray in November, what did he say? Do you remember? He said it will be a swift and speedy operation. Within weeks, we will take control of Tigray. And then you saw it went on for 2 years. Sandro says, will Fano attack from the back like Taframamo claimed? Yes, they will definitely do that. They're waiting for the right time, by the way. They know ENDF is being realigned, so they're waiting for the right time. They will definitely hit ENDF from the back and at the front, everywhere. Robel says, Sajid, do you believe ENDF can defend Western Tigray while sustaining 5 fronts? Well, even if they lose Western Tigray, they won't. They'll fight in Benishangul. They will fight on Amhara Sudan border. Perhaps they won't allow. Perhaps they won't allow EDF and DPLF to march towards BG, to march along Amhara Sudan border. And if they lose Western Tigray, maybe they will capture Mekelle. Maybe they will march towards Assab. Maybe they will march towards the Degarat. They will open other fronts. Matiko Dima says strategy outlined by Sadkan will be implemented because they believe he knows everything. Come on. What did Sadkan say during Tigray war? He said there is no one between us and Addis Ababa. When Tigray military was in Afar and Tigray military was in North Shore, uh, Amhara, he said there is no one between us and Addis Ababa. Who should we talk to? Who should we negotiate with? He was so confident of Tigray military's march towards Addis Ababa, and then you saw the drones changed everything. Brooks says, Sajid, who does a long protracted war benefit from? Well, if Abiy remains in power and his rivals are weakened, I think a long war suits him. Obviously, Ethiopian economy will be weakened. People of Ethiopia will suffer. But if Abiy manages to weaken his rivals through this war, he will see it as a win for him personally and politically and for his party. But country will suffer, people will suffer. Israel Yemane says, do you think Abiy will win if the war starts? Why is he so confident? Well, these people sometimes pretend to be confident. Leaders, those who lead countries and lead militaries, they never show that they are weak. I think Abiy is pinning all his hopes on his air force. He believes he has considerable advantage of having a deadly air force, and Eritrea, Tigray, Fano, no one will be able to survive. And obviously, he has support of his allies too. Israel supporting Ethiopia. UAE is supporting Ethiopia. And US is not as close to TPLF now as it was during Tigray war. If you remember, during Tigray war, US government was critical of the Ethiopian government. Ethiopian government used to criticize US government and US aid agencies in Tigray. This time, I think US is closer to Abiy. On good terms with Abiy than on good terms with TPLF. Bakaji, Eritrea will get support definitely, not from Western countries, but from Egypt, from Saudi Arabia, from Iran too, maybe. So it will find allies definitely, but not from the West. Whereas 37 minutes have passed, I think I should leave. Thank you for watching. Do write in comment section about Dula Ola Galana, the mobilization announced in Wollega, and ENDF sixth front. How effective will this front be in defending an attack from the north towards Addis Ababa? Do write in comment section. In coming videos, we'll talk about ENDF's other funds too. Fund number 7, fund number 8, fund number 9. Thank you for watching. Stay blessed. Bye-bye.